Hey YouTube, FS Physique is here. Got something new for you today. New firearm has arrived. It's in a blue box, which means that could either be a Beretta or a Smith & Wesson. I'm not fooling you guys. If you've read the title, you know what it is. It's a Smith & Wesson. So let's take a look. I finally got my hands on a 2.5 inch 686 7-shot revolver from Smith & Wesson. Take a look at this. Very excited to have this. I've been trying to get one of these for quite some time. I actually had hoped to get a model with a 3-inch barrel, but those are very hard to come by for some reason. The 4-inch, 6-inch, and the 2.5 inch are much more common. So when I had an opportunity to get this, I just had to jump on it. Something I've been looking for a long time. So obviously in the package, we've got the firearm itself. Very interesting. This came with 2 locks for some reason, and I'm not exactly sure why. But it came with a trigger lock to go in that area, and it also came with the regular cable lock. Okay, so I'm not quite certain why both of those were included, but an extra lock is an extra lock. I'm sure it'll be used somewhere or not. Let's see, what do we got in here for paperwork? Well, this is all my bill of sale stuff. Okay. Let's see what we got. Smith & Wesson actually sent us. First of all, this is a new production 686 Plus. So it does have the key lock, which, is somewhat unfortunate, but that's the way it is. These are the keys to undo the lock or enable or disable it. Let's see, we have a safety and instruction manual. Looks like we have, let's see, Smith & Wesson, join the NRA. And a registration card. So pretty much the normal stuff in the case. It does come in the hard case with the foam padding, some treated paper here that is supposed to I guess prevent corrosion on metal. It's treated, and it says that the blank side is the side that should be toward the metal, so great that it came packaged that way. And then let's go ahead and get the case out of the way, and we just left with the 686P. And there's a ton of reviews and videos out on the web available on this particular revolver, so I'm probably not telling you anything new that you don't know about it. One of the first things is that this is a 7-shot revolver, and look, somebody at Smith & Wesson was nice enough to put 6 snap caps in there. No, I'm just kidding. I've had this out of the box already. I couldn't resist. Like I said, This is a firearm I've wanted for a long time, and I couldn't leave it in the box while it was once it came into my possession. So really not too much to tell you about it. It's pretty typical of a revolver. Like I said, it is unusual in the fact that it is chambered for 7 rounds instead of 6. Okay, and of course that means I've now had to order some new speed loaders, because my speed loaders for my GP100 obviously wouldn't work with this since it's only chambered for 6 rounds. What can I tell you? The 2.5 barrel I was a little bit concerned about, because I thought maybe full power 357 loads might be a little stout through the handgun. But honestly, I've had this out to the range. I have fired it. Honestly, the difference between shooting a 6-inch barrel and my GP100 and this is really not that noticeable. I'm sure a 3-inch barrel would be even better in terms of controlling recoil. But the 2.5 seems to work fine, and with 38 special, this is really great. I don't know, it feels like shooting a 9mm or a 22. Very controllable, very manageable. And there's just something neat about revolvers. You guys know I have a lot of semi-autos, but I now have a second, 2 357 revolvers, and I love them both. It's very simplistic, You don't have to worry about, is your magazine loaded? Well, obviously you have to load it. They don't load themselves. But you don't have to worry about, buying spare magazines or how many you've got. You can't lose the magazine, which is great. I missed my opportunity. I was going to go in when I went to pick this up. I was going to go in, I was going to open the case and look at it and go, oh my God, they forgot to give me any magazines. Of course, obviously revolvers don't need that. So basically just kind of wanted to show you this. The 686 Plus does have adjustable rear sights. The front sight, I don't know if we can adjust. It is removable. You'd have to drift out that pin, but you could remove it and replace it with a different kind of sight. The front sight is a red ramp. It does have notched back rear sights, and I think they are adjustable for both elevation and windage, but I'd have to check. I'm not entirely certain on that. It looks like there should be some adjustment for windage, and then potentially some for elevation here. So I believe that's what you got. It is a newer model Smith, so no firing pin on the hammer. Firing pin is on the frame, which, effectively for me it doesn't really matter, but I know that's something that people don't like, along with having the key lock. It does seem to stick a little bit sometimes when I push the cylinder release forward. Like it's not disengaging up here in the front all the time, but I haven't found it to really be a problem. It just really hasn't seemed to be a problem. It's just every once in a while it feels like, and of course it could be me, maybe I'm not pushing that forward far enough to completely disengage it 100% before I try and swing the cylinder out. But anyway, that's the Smith & Wesson 686 Plus with a 2.5-inch barrel. It's chambered in .357. Also shoots .38 special. Very nice revolver. Feels very good in the hand. I'd love to think about maybe replacing the grips, except that they work really well. So I don't know that I want to sacrifice performance for style. What would I use this firearm for? Well, mostly a range gun, maybe home defense. It's certainly short enough that you could carry it. I probably won't. I mean, I like the idea of carrying a revolver because they're so simple, but I probably wouldn't carry this for concealed carry, for personal defense. I would certainly consider using it for home defense. And of course, it's just fun as heck at the range, to go out and plink with it. Trying to think of what else I can tell you about this. Let's see, revolvers. Well, they load, the way you'd expect them to. This doesn't have any, recessed chambers, so you can tell very easily when it's loaded. There's not a lot I can tell you about the revolvers that you probably don't already know. Double action trigger is pretty good. Maybe I would say excellent. Very clean break. Every once in a while it gets away from me, like I pull it back too rapidly. And then single action is just bang, there's really nothing to it. So when you're out at the range plinking, and I know I didn't safety check this explicitly, but you can see that, there's no rounds in there. It's just barely touching it moves. And I will say something, this is my first Smith & Wesson revolver. Smiths do tend to command a premium price. And after buying this firearm compared to my 6-inch Ruger GP100, I do understand why. That's not to knock Ruger, that's not to knock my GP100. I love that gun just as well. I do see that the fit and finish on the Smith is maybe there's a little more attention to detail. For instance, on the back of the trigger of the GP100, it has a very sharp edge. If you ran your finger like this, it would hurt. This has an edge that seems to be slightly broken. The other thing is the trigger feel is a little better on the Smith. It's in that range of just noticeable difference. It's not like you go and you work this a couple of times and go, oh, Ruger triggers, it's crap. It's not like that at all. It's just that, you pull single action on the GP100 and there's just a little bit of difference. This one's a little smoother, a little less, gritty, whatever, you know. I don't want to be like a wine taster and say it was round and chewy and, you know, whatever. But I mean, there's some noticeable but yet hard to quantify difference. And I believe that that's why, you know, the Smiths command that premium in price. Anyway, very pleased with this. I can't wait to get out. I've already shot the first rounds video. You know, I need to do post-production editing and whatnot, and put that together and whatnot. But I'm really looking forward to showing that to you. This thing is fun. I went out, and I think in the video I comment it's kind of like eating a potato chip. You know, you can't eat just one. And I did not. I went through twice as much ammo as I was planning on, including an entire box of 357. And I just didn't want to stop shooting it and come home. It was that much fun. So anyway, here's the Smith & Wesson 686. You know, it's a new gun here in my collection. I'm really excited to have it. Look forward to showing you the first rounds and other shooting videos with this. We'll do some steel plate challenges maybe with this and the GP100. You know, and I'm sure it will feature frequently in my videos. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for looking in on me.